Good morning, I'm Giorgia Fanesi from Pluservice. Pluservice is the technical support of Marche Region in Step Up project. During the previous training session, we talked about intermodality with some practical example of different travel planner systems available in Europe. As mentioned last time, the travel planner systems aim to collect mobility data of different transport modes of different transport companies. In this training session, I'll explain you what is necessary to fit these travel planner systems and the importance of mobility open data, with particular attention on GTFS. In order to work, travel planner systems have to be fed with mobility data of each transport provider. This is just one of the reasons why there is a lot of attention to open mobility data. This attention there is on the open data. There is also at the European level. In fact, since 2003, have been published three directives on the open data. The first one was published in 2003 for the use of public sector information. In 2013, the previous one was amended in order to facilitate the reuse of European public administration data. And in June 2019, the directive was relaunched, taking into account the technological and social changes that have taken place over the past 5 years. Thanks to these directives, public transport providers start to publish on their website and on the website of public administration their own mobility data. A format in which open data are published is the GTFS. This is only one of the several formats. The GTFS is a standard factor provided by Google. It defines a common format for public transportation schedules and associated geographic information. GTFS allows public transit agencies to publish their transit data in a format that can be consumed by a wide variety of software applications. Here I put two links that you can use to find GTFS information and to have information about the structure of the GTFS. A GTFS GTFS is composed of a series of text files collected in a file zip. Each file models a particular aspect of transit information, such as stops, routes, trips. So here we can see a file zip with different file txt inside. A file zip can be composed of a series of these txt files, and here we can see the most important in order to have a good GTFS. The first one is the agency. One or more transit agency that provide the data in this feed. Stops, locations where vehicles pick up or drop off passengers. Routes is a group of trips that are displayed to riders as a single service. Trips is a sequence of two or more stops that occurs at specific time. Stop times is times of vehicle arrivals at and departments from individual stops for each trip. Calendar defines service dates when service is available for particular routes. Calendar dates define exception for the services defined in the calendar text. And shapes is the representation on the map of the organization routes. It is important to consider that not all these information are mandatory and that there are some dependencies among the files from which a GTFS is composed. Following, I'll try to explain the dependencies with the use of the color. So here we can see the file agency and the file routes. The file agency is composed with a primary key that is the agency ID, and the file agency is connected to the file routes thanks to the agency ID. At the same time, the file routes is connected to the file trips with the primary key of file routes, that is the route ID. So I can have only one route ID, same for in the file routes, while in the file trips I can have the same route ID. And the file routes and the file trips are connected by the route ID. The file trips is connected with also with the calendar date, with calendar dates and calendar files. Is connected to the stop files, stop times files, and to the shapes file. The connection between trips ID and calendar files, calendar or calendar dates, for me in this moment is the same. They are connected by the service ID. File trips is connected to the stop times file thanks to the trip ID. That is also a primary key in the file trips. And the last one, dependencies, is between the file trips and the file shapes that are connected by the shape ID. All these dependencies are very important when we need to create a new GTFS file, because it is necessary to consider all these dependencies in the sequences of the generation of the GTFS. To create a GTFS file, it is possible to start, for example, from an Excel or a PDF file, of course, depending in which way transport provider make available transport information. Then you can use one of the several tools that are available on internet. Some tools are proprietary, other one are open. And with the use of these tools, it is possible to create a GTFS. Of course, it's important taking into account the dependencies that I've just mentioned. Here I report the sequence steps that I think it's useful to create a GTFS. The first step is the creation of agency file. Then it's necessary to create the roots file. After the roots file, you can create stops files based on the bus stops. Then the creation of trips files. And after the trips files, it is possible to create the calendar date or calendar, stop times file, and shifts file. When the GTFS is done, before loading, GTFS feed should be validated in order to catch errors. On internet, it is possible to find several validation tools. Here I'm showing you two outputs of the validator. The first picture shows a good GTFS without errors or warning. The second one shows a GTFS with several errors and warning. Warning means that the GTFS is not perfect, but it works. Errors means that GTFS doesn't work and it is necessary to correct them. As I mentioned at the beginning, now lots of transport providers start to publish their own data on the website. Here I put a link where you can check if for your country there are some GTF open data available for the mobility. Thank you for your attention.